Chinese President Xi Jinping recently had talks with his old friend. Don't be confused, we are talking about former US top diplomat Henry Kissinger. Xi called him an old friend when Kissinger made a surprise visit to Beijing. The US says he is visiting as a private citizen. Kissinger has played a crucial role in molding US-China ties since the 1970s. So why did the 100-year-old make a visit to Beijing? Why would he meet Xi Jinping as a US citizen? Let's get into the details. We are talking about a man who is 100 years old, no joke. It is a miracle how he flew for a business trip despite his age. Although US officials are curious why he made the surprise visit in the first place. They say he was there under his own volition and not acting on behalf of the US government. President Xi gave Kissinger a very warm welcome. She said, and I quote, "We will never forget our old friends and will not forget your historical contributions to develop US-China relations and friendship between the two peoples."
I'm really glad to meet Mr. Kissinger. It's been over 3 years since our last meeting. You've just celebrated your 100th birthday, and I wish you a long and healthy life. There's an old saying in China that great virtues come with longevity. You're 100 years old and have paid more than 100 visits to China. The 200s feature a special meaning to your current China visit.
The two met at a state guest house. Now, why does this matter? Well, because it's a more intimate space than the sprawling Great Hall of the People, the place where most meetings with foreign diplomats take place. But before meeting Xi, Kissinger also met with top diplomat Wang Yi and Defense Minister Li Shangfu. The talks revolved around peaceful coexistence between the two superpowers. By now, it's clear why Kissinger was in Beijing: to strengthen the US-China ties. But there's more. Reports say that Kissinger said that he was a friend of China. He told the Chinese officials, and I quote again, "Neither the United States nor China can afford to treat the other as an adversary. It is central to the peace in the world and to the progress of our society." Experts say that it's not a surprise that Kissinger took matters into his own hands. Why? It's because the man has more freedom as a mere citizen. Let's tell you what he can do that diplomats can't. Kissinger can be more frank. As a private citizen, he can have more open discussions with Xi Jinping and other officials. This gives him more leeway in presenting US concerns and even demands. It's also less controversial for him to meet Chinese officials. We are talking about officials like the Chinese Chief of Defense, General Li Shangfu. Li has been under US sanctions since 2018 for buying arms from Russia. And last month, Beijing refused US counterpart Austin to meet Li in Singapore. Apart from the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Kissinger is the only figure that Xi Jinping has met in the recent weeks. Although US officials like Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and US Special Envoy for Climate John Kerry also made a visit to Beijing recently. But they did not get any FaceTime with the Chinese president. After months of hostility due to the spy balloon incident this year, diplomatic negotiations appear to be back on track with China, but experts say that although Beijing may make token gestures of goodwill, it may not shift the fundamentals driving US-China relations. You see, Kissinger has a controversial status in parts of Asia due to his role in the Vietnam War. But China holds him in high regard for aiding its re-engagement with the world. So will the former diplomat actually mend ties? We'll have to wait and watch. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.